Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. I wanted to talk about environments and new locations that Cloud Imperium have been working on for the Persistent Universe. This started off as a quick summary of inside Star Citizen Day and Night, but there's a load more information from the monthly report and context and other bits that have been going on recently that I sort of all want to contain here. There has been quite a lot of focus on getting locations, environments, and the Stanton system and points of interest more completed with a push in 2020, especially with like stations and the Aaron Halo asteroid field and landing zones and planetary tech in general, I suppose. Cargo facilities, space station interiors have moved into white box now, and they're building them with a new player trading app in mind as well. The app's going to allow for players to transfer goods, but also, as one of its first features, the ability to transfer money, so wallet-to-wallet transactions for players. The idea of these cargo areas, though, is to allow players to rent space, to have cargo loaded and unloaded, transfer cargo between cargo ships, buy cargo items, and have cargo-related missions all in a single sort of like area, a one-stop shop for haulers and sort of cargo business. More to those sort of space station facilities, they're also building out refinery facilities at the moment as well. So we may see stations with a mixture of facilities, but some might be more specifically focused towards cargo or just refineries and that sort of stuff as well. But I would expect that Port Olisar, for example, will get replaced either when Orison and Crusader come out or when the cargo and refinery facilities are finished. These facilities, along with the long-awaited docking feature, are planned for Q3 2020's patch, the end of September. Currently, they showed off some seemingly minor yoga outfit concepts for New Babbage that are being worked on, but in the future, we're going to see NPCs wearing stuff like that, and they're going to have more animations expanded out with new exercises and general social AI improvements as part of the daily lives and daily schedules of NPCs in the game, and obviously that's a really important part of getting areas feeling more lifelike. The new mission giver Eddie Parr has been worked on as well. He is the bartender at Wally's Bar, and he's a bit of a contraband smuggler, along with his friend Michael Shaw. You'll be able to get missions from him in the next major patch. They're making updated high-tech hangars for New Babbage as well, allowing for a more micro-tech brand feel. And these are also going to be used along with each of the other sort of like tech archetypes and hangar types in other areas in the future beyond like New Babbage and the areas that they originally sort of land. There might be a bit of variance and change, especially to the color and shaders and that sort of stuff, to their reuse though, so bear that in mind. They showed off some gas cloud R&D tests for more isolated space stations. These tests are sort of like there to help build and develop gas cloud tech and its uses. Lots of points of interest will make use of them in the future, slightly more detached from this sort of like general space uses of gas cloud tech. We are going to see the updated Crusader, an actual proper gas giant, and its landing zone Orison at some point. This is expected for the Q4 2020 patch at the moment, as it got moved off the visible roadmap, but it does seem to be a concerted effort in trying to get it done for 2020. We know that in the future they're going to have plans for having space whales literally breaching from the surface of Crusader. That's going to be where their home is. That's not a joke. That's literally, they want space whales in game, and they might have some gameplay there where you have to like mine space ambergris or like minables off them quickly. Orison, its landing zone is a floating cloud city. There's going to be tour guides. It's going to be very beautiful and pretty. There is the idea. There's large shipyards, so literally capital class shipyards are there for building giant capital ships. But the actual planet Crusader there is going to be our first gas giant in game, and I'm very excited for it. The version 4 of Planetary Tech, their newest version and probably their final version of Planetary Tech, at least in name, is still being updated. They're still adding bits to it. So they've just updated the height maps for the Planetary Tech, giving better visual detail, but also smoother levels of detail, their transitions between them, better object scattering and distribution, much more accurate data too, to allow for fast creation of planets and their biomes. And you'll keep on seeing more and more updates to Planetary Tech as they sort of like get it into its final form. They are currently building out the Aaron Halo as well for the Stanton system, which is a giant wall of asteroids that will require players to move through gates that are controlled by Crusader to get access to the inner or outer of the system. It separates basically Hurston and Crusader, the inner sort of part of the system from ArcCorp and Microtech, the outer part of the system. As someone that loves to mine, I'm very much looking forward to a giant asteroid belt. Grimhex as well is getting updated to have its ship racetrack as well as large hangars there, so it can operate as a full landing zone for outlaws or players that want to operate out of it. Expect some other bits and bobs as well, like shops and facilities giving you the full range of what you would require. I would also expect it to have proper refinery facilities as well. It's sort of like a old mining asteroid base that's been hollowed out, so that sort of makes sense. Refineries will allow players for a fee to turn one type of resource into something potentially more valuable, and that will eventually play into the dynamic economy of manufacture and consumption of goods and crafting in the game. You will have to wait a certain amount of time, so once you've put your sort of like order in for a refinery, you can log off or whatever, but it will take some time to complete. Pyro, the new star system, is starting to be shown in Cloud Imperium's updates. We know that they're saving the 4.0 patch moniker for Pyro now. We are going to see hostile landscapes and dangerous flora, along with a very angry star, which can be dangerous for unshielded ships. It should be simple as a system for Cloud Imperium to build relatively, compared to at least the Stanton system, with Ruin Station being the only known major landing zone there, and no need for UEE laws. It's very much a Wild West pirate sort of area. We might not see other stations or even comma rays there. Cloud Imperium have also been working on jump points and the ability to move between the Stanton and Pyro system, which should come at the same time as Pyro's release. We don't know when that Pyro system is going to be released. Last we heard was it was meant to be in 2020, but that was before Cloud Imperium were working from home, so there might be further delays to that. In fact, it's very likely. Lighting. So there was a load about lighting in the Inside Star Citizen. They're using lighting to make areas more interesting, obviously, to guide players, to highlight particular features, and more generally, let you see and navigate. Planets rotate, so planets have a real dynamic time of day, and they have to build points of interest with that in mind. They have to look good, or at least be functional in night, day, dusk, whether a small amount of light's coming to them, no light, whether they're being entirely blinded by the sun, that sort of stuff. So they have to think of that when there's points of interest on planets or space, whatever. They've updated a load of their lighting tech now for two major improvements. So runtime probes allow for more regular updating of when they probe their environments. It's referred to as runtime lighting probes, but I'm not sure if it's actually done at right runtime. I think it's just done often. This basically probes the environment to work out what the ambient lighting should look like at any given time of day, what's being shone from the sun, all that sort of stuff, and other light sources. Basically, it's more accurate lighting data. This allows for more subtle sun movements and shadows to be rendered appropriately, and you will have appropriate ambient lighting for any time of the day. The other major improvement here is day-night light groups. So it allows for lights to have a day mode and a night mode, or at least another layer to them, and that gives them extra detail and efficiency. So this allows for the turning off of lights during the day and then turning on at night. It's a huge efficiency bonus because they don't have to have these lights rendered constantly. You can see a great example of this with the laser show at Wally's Bar on New Babbage. In fact, New Babbage was the sort of like test bed for these new updates, and you can have that laser show at nighttime, and it sort of changes the way the whole area looks. Expanding on that, you'll see these light updates coming into game with the next major patch, with other planetary locations getting updated for them. Surface outposts and points of interest will also see them updated too. I think as well, while those lighting changes are being dialed in, it's one of the reasons we've seen potentially lower frame rates around New Babbage as they sort of like dial that in and get it done properly. But we'll see these light updates across all areas of the game and new systems too. It is part of their core sort of lighting system now. I keep getting questions about orbiting planets and moons, so I'll address that now. The last thing we heard was that orbiting planets are planned for the future. There were a couple of things that they needed to solve with some tech. They need to be able to have these dynamic quantum splines so that obviously, as planets are moving and rotating, you're going to need to be able to travel to them as they're revolving around the sun, and your quantum path is going to effectively change as you're traveling to them. So they need a system for that works, that isn't resource aggressive. The other thing that they need is to make sure that these object containers move appropriately, and it's quite likely that this won't come until we have server meshing now, because it makes sense for them to bake it in with server meshing and have these sort of like planets as their own servers and object containers permanently, at least in the first stage of server meshing. And then when it goes to dynamic server meshing, they can set it up potentially a bit differently. And that's really it for this week. Please check out my video on the Persistent Universe monthly report with even more info on what Cloud Imperium have been working on. I'll get a sister report for the Squadron 42 stuff as well up later today. I'm interested to know your thoughts though. Do you actually care if planets are orbiting the sun in-game? Or do you just like, well, it doesn't really matter. I want to fly around the universe. It's all good. I'm sort of like interested to know your thoughts on that. Could we still see the Pyro system this year? Do you think that's a possibility? Do you think that Cloud Imperium will get the Stanton system as finished as possible this year and Pyro out in 2021? Are you excited for the updates coming to space stations? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Every month we have a giveaway. For May, we're giving away a Star Citizen game package with Arrow Light Fighter. All you've got to do to be in for a chance of winning that is comment on any of my videos made during the month. More details below. I am a shill for a couple of companies, NordVPN and NordPass. If you are looking for a VPN or a password management system, I recommend you check them out. They've got many benefits over free services, and as I'm pretty security conscious, I love those kind of services. Also, there's Shadow. If you are thinking about getting a new gaming rig or upgrading your gaming PC for Star Citizen or whatever, then consider Shadow instead. It is a internet cloud-based subscription service like Stadia, like GeForce Now, but this one gives you access to a full Windows 10 environment which is fully customizable, and that is significantly better in my opinion, allowing you to do a lot more with it. Check out the links below for them or use the code BoardGamer for discount. Also, if you wish to support the channel further, there is Patreon, there's the YouTube join member button down below. That really helps. This is a community supported channel and I wouldn't be able to do what I do without the support that I get. If you want to share these videos, if you want to comment, give feedback, whatever, that is also hugely appreciated. Thanks very much for watching, guys. You take care and I'll see you in the verse.